Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified Doctor of Naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're here with our first Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. This is episode 2815. If you want to follow along, head on over to stephencabral.com/2815. We're going to be going over about 5 or 6 questions today from the community. Just opened up the Ask Cabral document that my team so graciously puts together each and every week from the community-based questions. And as I always say, please do feel free to ask your question each and every day at cabralsupportgroup.com for same-day answers. If you don't mind waiting about 12 weeks to get your answer read aloud on the show, do feel free to write in at stephencabral.com/askcabral. All right, without further ado, let's dive into all the questions we're going to be answering today. Of course, not providing any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis, but instead actually looking at what some of the underlying root causes may be in order to fix these issues in the first place. All right. So Carol says, can staying in a hot car get similar benefits to sauna? Hot cars are common, saunas are not. Since it's summer, cars get hot. Can I get similar benefits to sauna by staying in a hot car? How would I modify the temperature in the car? Great question. Okay, I've never gotten this question. Never even had it posed to me before. So thank you, Carol. So you can get the benefits of a sauna in any area that is hot and that you are sedentary, because it's different than exercising. Because when you're exercising, you might be in what's called the fight or flight or sympathetic nervous system. We want you to be relaxed. So there can be some benefits with like jogging and things like that. But really what you want to be in is in a confined area, we'll say, like a sauna, that where the ambient temperature, so the room around you, is being heated. Right? And a typical sauna is anywhere between 140 and 180 degrees. Some can be cooler and some can be hotter, but that's typically it. And it's in the 160s that seems to be the sweet spot, high 160s for most people, and that's at head height. So I set my barrel sauna at 195, 200 degrees, as high as it can go. And that's what it is at the very top of the sauna if I was to stand up. But at head height, it's about 168, 170 degrees, which is exactly what they do the Finnish-based sauna studies on. And the infrared sauna I have, that's set at 170, 174 degrees or so. Okay, so here's what I want to share with you. You can get benefits in any container that gets hot, right? The problem with a car is that there's a lot of toxic elements in a car. You hope that your sauna is made from a hypoallergenic wood, that it's not made with glues or adhesives, things that give a lot of toxic off-gassing. In your car, there's formaldehyde typically applied, or I should say flame retardants applied to your seats and dashboards. There's plastics that can get heated up. So especially in a new car, I would say no. But can you get the benefits, toxicity aside? The answer is yes. Your car in the summer in warm places can definitely get up to like 120 degrees. So it's not that you can, you definitely can. And so that's that. I would not use it ideally, but I see what you're saying. I have some inexpensive sauna recommendations. And I have some expensive sauna recommendations as well at stephencabral.com/resources. So check that out. And in terms of modifying the temperature in the car, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert at modifying car temperatures, except obviously you're going to roll down the windows if you need to cool it down. If you want to get it hotter, you'll park it directly in the hot sunlight, right? But I'm not giving this as a recommendation. I just don't think it's the wisest thing to do. I understand why you're asking, but I just want to be careful and I want to be cautious and I want you to be safe. Overall, I want you to be safe. Okay. All right, Alicia's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I hope you're doing well. I have questions about leptin hormone. I'm 40 years old. My BMI is an 18. Excuse me. I recently put on 15 pounds. I was underweight before. I noticed it is very difficult for me to get full. When I'm done eating my meals, I keep going back to the kitchen for more food because I'm still hungry. Sometimes it feels like I need to eat half of my kitchen to really feel satisfied. I recently ran some lab tests. They showed that my leptin levels are out of range, very, very low. How can I balance my leptin levels? I'm happy with my current weight and don't want to put on any more pounds. My diet is very clean and very active physically. I hope you can add some advice for me. Thank you in advance for all your help. Yeah, happy to help. So a BMI of 18 is still on the lower side. Again, I'm not saying that you can't be perfectly healthy at a BMI of 18, just like you can't be perfectly healthy at a BMI of 26, right? 1 point out of range. However, I would say is everybody needs to find the right weight for them. And since you have low leptin and you have lower BMI, there could be an absorption-based issue. So I'm just wondering, do you have enough stomach acid? Do you have enough digestive enzymes? Are you processing the food well enough? Are you getting enough of your micronutrients, not just macros? Is your body sending signals to you that it's low on B vitamins? It's low on magnesium. It's low on calcium. It's low on zinc. Is it missing these things and that's why you're getting those signals? Or is it that it knows that you're underweight and need to maybe put on more weight? So it's saying, okay, let's eat more until we gain weight, but that might go back to the absorption issue. Or is it because you're very high stressed? There are many people that never feel full, and it has zero to do with the nutrients that they're getting or the amount of food that they eat. It's not enough to calm their anxiety. It's not enough to calm their stress. And so what happens is the body will continue to eat until there's basically this stretch reflex on the stomach, which is a real thing, that tells the body we're super full. And oh, good, now we get the what? What do we get? The dopamine, right? Reward, pleasure response, the serotonin, happy, feel good, and the GABA, excitatory neurotransmitter that's also anti-anxiety. So keep in mind, it might be any one of those three. And what I would do then is I would just make sure you're doing something like the daily foundational protocol with all the micronutrients you need, that you're eating a good 3 times per day, that you get enough protein and fiber at each meal. Remember, I did a podcast that basically said if you're hungry, within an hour and a half of eating a meal, you may not have got enough protein, you may not have gotten enough fiber. So look for that as well. And then look at stress, look at anxiety. And then things like magnesium, adrenal soothe, meditation, walking, calming that vagus nerve can be very helpful. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. Jennifer's up next. I searched your podcast for hyperparathyroidism. I didn't find any. For 12 to 13 years now, my parathyroid has been 225 to 370. My serum calcium is low, normal, and my vitamin D is a 40 to 70. My symptoms are insomnia, worsening severe chronic constipation, and brain fog, memory, vision that is blurry, but my eye doctor says it isn't changing, fatigue, stage 3 lobular breast cancer in 1 month after my bilateral hysterectomy, incomplete hysterectomy. So my parathyroid actually dropped to 81. However, 3 to 6 months later, it was quite elevated again. Has your program helped anyone in my situation? I've been to so many doctors, homeopaths, herbalists, and no changes. Need some help. Thank you for your time. Okay. So first and foremost, the big thing about our program is that we don't treat or diagnose disease. We look for all the underlying root causes. To me, yes, we've helped many people with hyperparathyroid, which means like fast, right? Fast hyperparathyroid rather than just fast thyroid. And so all of your numbers make sense, right? You've got pretty balanced vitamin D, maybe could be improved a bit. You've got a PTH that's a little elevated, of course, and serum calcium that's a little bit low. So we know all of these things this is what happens, right? This is what happens when you have a higher parathyroid. But the higher parathyroid has an underlying root cause. So unless there's a tumor, right, on it, or something pressing on it, or something pressing on one of the modulators of the hyperparathyroid as well, which in this case, we can look at we can look at two. We can look at the hippocampus, and we can also look at the hypothalamus. So one's controlling more of the autonomic nervous system and the limbic system, and one's looking at more of the master gland for different organs and glands within the body. So we want to make sure that it's all good there. You can do an MRI, a non-contrast, which is like a non-toxic MRI if you wanted to, of your parathyroid area, or you could do an ultrasound. That would be okay too, and that would be less expensive and easy to do. And then you could also look at overall stress, because stress can be a big part of this. So, and it goes along with all the things like insomnia, chronic constipation, brain fog, memory, and vision are typically all high cortisol, high stress related issues. And so if you're only going to run one lab, I would run the stress, mood, and metabolism test. In an ideal world, you run the big 5. You can find them at StephenCabral.com/shop. You don't have to purchase them with us. You can purchase them with your local integrative health practitioner or whoever you choose to work with. Great. But that's what I would look at for sure, because there's always an underlying root cause. And that's what I'd be looking at as a root cause for sure. I don't want to just look at supplements right now. I want to find the root cause, but then the whole de-stress protocol would be helpful. Okay, this one is from Karen. Karen says, my mother is 74 and was diagnosed with Parkinson's around 2.5 years ago. She's still fully capable of moving around, albeit with some pain from Parkinson's and rheumatoid arthritis. And she started seeing a trainer around 9 months ago who has really helped her. What other things can we try to help minimize the onset of Parkinson's, both physically, the shakes combined with arthritis, and mentally, anxiety and depression? All right, so since I can't answer this in just 2 or 3 minutes, I have whole podcasts on this. So I would love you to go to my podcast on Alzheimer's, because it also helps with dementia. There's a 3-part series. You can go to stevencabral.com/podcasts, just type in Alzheimer's, and you'll be able to find a 3-part series on that, which all of those things help with Parkinson's as well. And then what I would do is, if possible, I would also look at the underlying root causes by running a big 5. So lower levels of neurotransmitter metabolites, lower levels of methylated B vitamins, lower levels of detox-based issues, higher levels of heavy metals. I mean, again, there's always an underlying root cause, even if there's a genetic predisposition. So that's exactly what I'd be doing. And if possible, try to pick up a copy of The Rain Barrel Effect. That's my book. It's completely free, and it will explain this process. I pay for the book. You just pay for shipping. You can go to stevencabral.com and you'll be able to find that. All right. And then if you ever need follow-ups on that, there's lots of shows on this. So you can always just ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. We'll find them for you that same day. All right. So we're here to help. Just let us know how we can help. All right, let's do one more question, and it's from Tara. Tara says, hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for everything you do. My question is about RCPD. I was wondering if you've heard of it. Basically, I cannot burp. Yes, and for anybody who's not heard of this before, it's our CPD stands for a specific muscle, essentially in the larynx, esophagus-based area, and it's like cannot burp syndrome. I'm not making that up. Like literally not making that up. And that's the term that they give it. So it's legitimate though. Like some people cannot burp or belch or relieve the pressure that may be built up in their chest and stomach. It almost feels like it's stuck there. And sometimes it feels like people have difficulty, like they can't swallow the food or swallow the phlegm. And let's see what Tara says. The only way to relieve the pressure is to stick my hand on my throat and press on my sphincter. It causes tremendous discomfort and I think contributes to issues digesting and absorbing nutrients. I brought this up with a health coach and they seem to dismiss it, but after filtering through all my issues, this seems to be the root cause. As of now, the only treatment I know of for this is to inject Botox to paralyze the sphincter so you can retrain the muscle. So my question is, what do you think is the best way to go about this? Is there an alternative solution or is Botox the safest and best way? Thanks. Yeah, you're right. So that is the conventional medicine treatment for our CPD. Yes, it is to essentially relax that muscle, which then is basically innervated by a nerve, that would then allow you to properly move things down the esophagus and through the esophageal sphincter and into the stomach. Okay, so the issue is, again, there's always a root cause, even if this is a much more rare symptom. And anybody I've worked with achalasia or this particular issue or choking on their food or any of these things, it's almost always related to deeper chronic stress or trauma, or a lot of worry, overwhelm. And that's always what I see it. And what happens is that the muscles of digestion get really tense. They're still in fight or flight. And in order to be able to digest, you need to get into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the other half of the autonomic nervous system. So one half of the ANS is the sympathetic nervous system or fight or flight. The other half is the parasympathetic nervous system, the PNS, okay? That's rest and relax. Digestion only really happens in rest and relax. So what we do, let's say someone even does the Botox, no problem, okay? That's what they decide to do. It's not the worst thing, right? It's not the worst thing. But what I'm saying is there are natural ways, and no matter what, you get to do in the natural ways. So there is meditation, there's going for a walk before you eat. There's massaging the chest and throat-based area. There's doing what's called a heart lock and a heart math, putting the hand over the heart and one on your stomach and just breathing and relaxing your central nervous system. There's using HRV modulators on the tragus of the ear, as well as one that goes over the solar plexus that I'm going to be reviewing that product in just a couple weeks, and that might be a really nice one for you, Tara, as well. I think it would be a great one for you. So those will be coming on a Friday review. review. But, and then there's also obviously magnesium, there's adrenal soothe, there's making sure you get enough sleep, there's breath work based exercises. All of these things are very helpful, and I do recommend all of them. So those are the ways that I would get started. Of course, this is not medical advice, but I'd like to be able to provide people at least with a way to get started and a place to look. So hopefully today's show was helpful. I'll be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions. Stay tuned. Take care. Have an amazing rest of the day. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.